Good morning. I'm pleased to be joined by Attorney General Austin Knudsen on a joint action from the state of Montana. At this time in our nation, we stand at a critical junction to uphold the rule of law and protect the safety of our communities. Since taking office, President Donald Trump made securing the border a top priority after Joe Biden and Kamala Harris let nearly 11 million illegal immigrants into the United States. President Trump tasked ICE and Customs and Border Protection to lead efforts to deport criminals who broke the law by entering this country illegally. Recent events across the nation have put federal law enforcement officers in difficult situations that have resulted in the loss of life. I'm grateful to President Trump has fully committed to investigating any tragedy like those we've seen in recent weeks. However, these tragedies, no matter how unfortunate, do not give local government the right to ignore laws that have been passed by the state of Montana. In 2021, I signed House Bill 200. This legislation explicitly bans sanctuary cities in the state of Montana. Under this law, no state or local government can enact policies that refuse cooperation with federal immigration authorities. Importantly, the law empowers the state's Attorney General to investigate and pursue civil action against any jurisdiction that violates these provisions. Recently, the Helena City Commission passed a resolution that raises serious concerns about their compliance with this state law. This resolution appears to limit cooperation between local law enforcement and federal immigration agents, potentially a direct violation of our sanctuary city ban. Yesterday, I wrote a letter to the Attorney General, Austin Knudsen, to formally request that the Montana Department of Justice open an investigation into these matters. Today, we are announcing a formal investigation into recent actions taken by the City of Helena that may be in violation of state law. I appreciate his willingness to begin this process without delay. Attorney General, thank you for your partnership, and what would you like to add?
Thanks, Mr. Governor. Good morning. Thank you all for being here. I'm Attorney General Austin Knudsen. I first of all want to thank Governor Gianforte for taking the lead on this one. This is one that my office has received a lot of communications about, something we've been looking at as well. So the City of Helena on January 26th of this year passed this resolution. This is Resolution 21062. Now I'm going to start with Montana Code. The Governor referenced House Bill 200 that was passed in the 21 legislature. That's now been codified, located at Montana Code annotated 2-1-601 through 2-1-605. Pretty simple statutes, but I'll read the important part. 2-1-602. A state agency or local government may not enact, adopt, implement, enforce, or refer to the electorate a policy that prohibits or restricts a government entity, official, or employee from, sub A, sending to, receiving from, exchanging with, or maintaining for a federal, state, or local government entity information regarding a person's citizenship or immigration status for lawful purpose. Pretty clear what the legislature's intent was. I don't think we need to go into real depth about that. I'm going to go now to the resolution passed by the City of Helena last month. Now therefore, be it resolved by the Commission of the City of Helena, Montana. Section 2. The Commission supports that the City of Helena shall not disclose to any person or agency outside city government any sensitive information about any person that comes into the employee's possession during the course and scope of that employee's work for the City of Helena, except as required by law, in order to provide a city service or carry out a function of city government or upon receipt of a valid court order. Sensitive information includes immigration status or national origin. This is clearly the City Council of Helena thumbing its nose at the Montana legislature. The City of Helena does not like state law. I encourage it to retain counsel, get a lobbyist, come up here to the Capitol during the 27th legislative session and take its best shot at changing the law. In the meantime, we will enforce state law as passed by the Montana legislature and as signed by the governor. Back to the statutes we cited, House Bill 200 and the resulting law gives the Attorney General, myself, investigative power to look into this. We are here to announce today that my office will be formally instigating such an investigation. Furthermore, remedies. What happens after this investigation? If we determine that state law has been violated, the same section of state law empowers my office to file a civil action in Lewis and Clark County District Court, which I suspect we will end up doing. And depending on the outcome of that court hearing, the City of Helena is at real risk of losing coal board funding, which I suspect is not insignificant. On top of that, they're looking at a $10,000 fine per every 5 days. This policy is in effect. I think as of this morning, they're already looking at $30,000. So we'll see how long they want to keep this in place. But I want to thank Governor Gianforte for his leadership on this and look forward to seeing what we see in this investigation. Thank you, Mr. Governor.
Okay, thank you, Attorney General. Like the Attorney General said, any local government found to be in violation of state law is subject to $10,000 in fines for every 5 days that they're in violation. Further, to the halting of any funds distributed from the Montana Department of Commerce, including the Coal Board Endowment Program and the Montana Coal Board. Today we send a clear message to all local governments across the state. If you are found to be in violation of state law, there will be penalties. In Montana, we don't tolerate defiance, and we support our local law enforcement. I'm grateful for the Attorney General's partnership to uphold the safety and sovereignty of our state and our nation. I want to thank everybody for being here today, and now we'll open up for questions. Yes.
You know, for those who spent time at this session, we hear resolutions called letters to Santa Claus. And in reading the HB 200, the definitions of policy, it says, you know, official or unofficial policy, rule, ordinance. Nowhere does it define a resolution as official or unofficial policy. Is it the opinion of the Attorney General's office that in this instance, this resolution is an official policy?
I think it may, Tom. I mean, like I said, we're at a point where we're going to investigate. But it's a pretty broad definition. I think it looks so far like this is a directive from the City Council to law enforcement in Helena. But as I said, we're kicking off an investigation here, and we're going to see if it falls within that definition.
And then one more follow-up on the bill. In the bill, does it require the governor to direct the AG to conduct such an investigation? Is that a required mechanism in the law, or?
No.
Okay.
No. This is just cooperation between two folks who are concerned about something.
Okay.
Sorry, Mr. Governor.
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
I support for the Attorney General as well. There's also a component in that resolution regarding masking, which I think is one of the asks for a lot of folks on that side. Is that something that your office could be looking into as well, or is it just the data sharing kind of stuff?
Well, for right now, the portions that I pointed out are the ones I'm most concerned about. I think the Helena City Commission requesting that federal law enforcement not wear masks has no effect. I mean, I can give them a few other windmills if they want to tilt at them. But the City of Helena has absolutely no authority to tell federal law enforcement how they can dress or what kind of apparel they can wear to ostensibly protect their identities. But as I said, I mean, this is day one. We're going to investigate this. But I pointed out the provision that's concerning me the most.
Yeah, Jonathan?
The provision that the Attorney General read out, it had a section in there talking about not in violation of law or some language like that. I forget the specifics. Does the resolution not also say that it's saying when not prohibited by law that it won't cooperate beyond what's required by law? Does that in any way, do you think, get out of or try to comply with the law as it's written?
Well, I think a large part of this investigation is going to depend on construction here, right? I mean, I don't think this is a matter of we're going to be sending DCI over to the city council offices. I think this is a matter of we're going to read the legal definitions. We're going to look at the words that were used. I suspect the city council was probably somewhat deliberate in the words that they chose to use here. But the portion that you're talking about, if I'm remembering it correctly, I think it refers to legal activities carried out in furtherance of city duties. I'm not sure that's going to cover and exempt them from state law here. But again, we got to look.
And I would say the House Bill 200, when passed, was very clear. We're not going to have sanctuary cities in Montana, and local municipalities need to cooperate with federal authorities so that we do not harbor illegal immigrants in our communities. We've seen Montanans suffer from the inflow of fentanyl. We've seen crime in our local communities. We've seen gang members apprehended in our local communities. Local jurisdictions cannot protect these criminals. They need to be working with federal agencies. Other questions? Jonathan, follow-up?
In addition, during the discussion in introducing this resolution, the city gave the impression that in its essence, most of what was in there was policy that had already been what the police department was doing. Do you think that they've been out of compliance for longer than since the resolution was passed?
Well, I think that will be a subject of the investigation. If we find that they have been in violation for a longer period, the penalties could be much more severe.
Governor, we have Shaylee online.
Yeah. So, Shaylee?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I apologize I couldn't be there in person today. I do have a question. If you have, either of you have spoken with any Helena City Commission officials or Chief Petty about this, I'm curious if those conversations will happen going forward, if you expect the city to be cooperative.
We have not had conversations with them. We're going based on the public actions they've taken and acting in a way in compliance with Montana state law. If you want. Good. Yeah.
So in the same vein, as you guys are well aware, Helena has opted out of the Missouri River Drug Task Force. I guess opinions from either the AG or the governor about does this play into it, and in general, do you support Helena's decision to opt out of the task force?
Well, that one is fully within their legal right to do. I think it's a mistake. I think the Missouri River Drug Task Force and the numerous drug task forces we have working around the state are doing good work. I can't tell you what's behind their decision to leave the task force, but they certainly have the right to do that under state law. What they don't have the right to do under state law is to try to make national political statements at the expense of state statute. I'd suggest the city of Helena, concentrate on enabling their law enforcement, maybe fixing some potholes, instead of trying to play national politics. But I'm not on the city council.
Thank you all. Jonathan, you'll have the last question.
Has there been any other investigation under House Bill 200 to this point?
The quick answer is no. To our knowledge, there's not any other city council in Montana who has formally taken action like this and formalized a policy statement. There has been some concern about Missoula, but I've done some cursory investigation myself, and they haven't adopted any kind of resolution or formal written policy as the city council. So at this point, we're looking just at Helena.
Okay. Thank you for being here today.
Thanks, everybody.